Welcome back to Inside the Story. We're here with Kilian Laverty for another policy sit-down. We're going to talk about 2023. We're going to talk about the National Defense Authorization Act for this past year. Everything Capitol Hill. Lots of stuff going on in the new year. Kilian, we just passed, or we're about to pass, I think today, or maybe by the time you watch this video, we'll have already passed, but a spending bill funding the military. But going further than that, there's a lot of other things that they throw into this bill every year. The NDAA. I heard about rescinding the vaccine mandate for U.S. military personnel. What's happening?
Yeah, so Tuesday night, the Congress released their draft of the fiscal year 2023 National Defense Authorization Act. Now, this is a bill that's passed every year for the past 6 decades, almost automatically, because no one wants to be the guy that votes against defense spending, no matter how ludicrous that number is.
Yeah, or what else is in it.
Or what's in it.
It's not just funding the military.
Absolutely. I mean, look, we're looking at an $850 billion bill just about. It's $45 billion above even what Biden asked for. So it's more than the Department of Defense even said they needed. And tagged onto it, whole heck of a lot of riders. We got Green New Deal policies like electric vehicles and the DOD, solar panels, things like that are weaseling their way in there. We got some good stuff, some good wins. They wanted to tag bills like the JCPA, which is about like broadcasting onto it.
Yeah, what was JCPA? So that's not in it anymore.
It's not in it.
Okay.
It was there was talk about tagging it on. So this is a tactic we see a lot in Congress, tagging unpopular bills or bills that couldn't pass on their own onto so-called must-pass legislation like the NDAA.
Spending.
Exactly. Yeah. Giving it kind of a cover there. The JCPA, there was a lot of pushback from members on because there were rumors or reports that it was originally going to be included. It would be kind of like a media cartel that could charge tech companies to share their content.
Okay.
So think of it like a tax on links that you share on Facebook.
Okay.
So they'd have to pay like the Washington Post for the honor of sharing their story.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely ridiculous.
Not sure what that has to do with defense spending or military readiness, but
that's the neat part. It doesn't.
Oh.
But that's a tactic we see a lot on Capitol Hill. Thankfully, it wasn't included. There were also some other bills like Joe Manchin's permitting reform left on the cutting room floor there. So most part, we got a clean-ish bill. It's a bad bill nonetheless. One of the big wins, though, that conservatives can hang their hat on here is it defunds the military vaccine mandate. So it removes funding for that. There's still lots of steps that need to happen there.
like reinstating personnel who were kicked out because of the vaccine
Exactly.
mandate.
Exactly.
While the military has a pretty major recruiting problem right now, maybe this is a step in the right direction to that. I mean, there's a lot of things, all the woke kind of things going on in the military, just, the general state of the economy, lots of things that are really, I think, hurting military readiness. And, that comes into play with, being able to actually recruit people for the U.S. Army, the Marines, Air Force, Navy, all that.
Absolutely. And again, this is a bad bill in general. It's a nice win defunding that vaccine mandate, but it is a horrible bill. And keep in mind, the DOD just failed its 5th audit. Of the $3.5 trillion in assets that the department has, something like 61% of them, so that's over half, they're unaccounted for. They couldn't nail it down. So there's a real issue here with automatic government spending, for lack of a better term, and we're going to see far too many members this week vote for a bill that none of them have read. It's over 4,400 pages that I'm sure none of them have read, and billions and billions of dollars in spending that the department didn't even ask for, that is just going to continue to fuel this inflation crisis that Americans have been dealing with for over a year now.
For sure, yeah. And I mean, things are expensive this holiday season. Next year, we have a couple things to talk about. The Farm Bill, just kind of spending in general, going to be some more spending packages, and then the debt ceiling. For some people who might not know what we're talking about, what is the debt ceiling here when it talking about in the context of next year?
Yeah, so the Treasury needs congressional authorization to take out debt. And the U.S. is one of, I think, 2 countries in the world that has a debt ceiling, so that congressional authorization there. The other one, I think, is Denmark. I could be wrong on that, but they just blow theirs off so wildly where it's like 4 times the amount of their actual debt, so they never have to worry about it.
Okay.
But in the United States, we have to continually raise our debt ceiling to say, yeah, if you're going to spend our posterity's money, if you're going to spend us into oblivion here, you need congressional authorization. And we're probably around summer of 2023, we're gearing up to hit that. And that's a real leverage point here. Given that we have split control of Congress for the 118th, I mean, last night Georgia was called, so we got a 51-seat Democrat majority in the Senate, Republican majority in the House. One of the real leverage points that the GOP has is that debt ceiling.
Sure.
So that's in 2011 was the last time we had a really big fight regarding that, where the GOP was able to leverage the debt ceiling to get some spending caps, which was a really great reform we had in the Tea Party days.
Yeah, gotcha. And then aren't there some votes that automatically raise the debt limit, or we were talking about that in the context of House rules, some things that Republicans are trying to change?
Yeah, I mean, look, you do need congressional authorization in order to raise the debt ceiling. It needs to go through both houses, so the Senate has a say in it too. But what we've seen historically over the past couple of years is not only raising of the debt ceiling automatically, but also suspending it. So that was something we saw during the COVID days when we were spending all those different reconciliation packages and whatnot, those $1 trillion packages, dropping checks overnight, the things that really helped to fuel inflation.
Yeah.
We just flat out suspended the debt ceiling like it didn't even matter. And that's why we're over $31 trillion in debt right now.
And
that's a big part.
Still
Inflation's
high.
through the
Record
roof.
Inflation, yeah.
4-decade high. And a lot of that has to do with the blatant fiscal irresponsibility that's come out of
From
Capitol
both
Hill.
parties.
Both parties, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had Republican and Democrat presidents sign off on it, Republican and Democrat Congresses. There's one constant in Washington over the past couple decades, and it has been spending more money.
And declaring war on people.
And declaring war.
Two most bipartisan things in Washington.
Absolutely. There's nothing more popular than spending in war, and that's why the NDAA is so automatic, seemingly.
Right. Now, the Farm Bill, something you think would be kind of innocuous, like you're just giving money for some corn subsidies, helping farmers out in the middle of America. But it's actually a pretty sinister bill that gets voted on every 2 years. There's just like the NDAA. There's a lot of other things that find their way into this. I know Republicans a lot of the time are fighting for to axe a lot of the or include welfare requirements, right?
Yeah.
Work requirements. But that's part of the Farm Bill, though.
Yeah, so there are two main parts of the Farm Bill. There are the subsidies, and then there is SNAP, because SNAP is under, like food stamps and whatnot, it's under the Farm Bill here. So we have a lot of cronyist commodity subsidies for corn and whatnot that are included in the bill, and they're absolutely horrible. But onto that, we also have, again, SNAP requirements, where one of the things that Republicans have historically pushed for, and hopefully they'll make a big push this go-around, are like work requirements for SNAP. We can get some good welfare reform there. We can also get corporate welfare reform by axing some of these subsidies. And it's a tough vote for a lot of Republicans in middle America, but ultimately it's the free market decision, or it's the free market choice to roll these back, and it's the fiscally responsible choice.
Yeah, no, I think makes sense to me. I mean, I think a lot of people don't even think about the Farm Bill every 2 years. They don't know this is going on, that there's such a massive bill that, you know, with all the corporate welfare, you're giving all these subsidies for corn when you know, or different crops when you might not really need those. I mean, it's your taxpayer dollars that are going to, you know, artificially change prices of crops. Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous.
It's an absolute monstrosity, and it's another one of those bills where it is very difficult for members to vote against it, just like the NDAA. And it's one of the worst bills that Congress passes, and they do it nearly automatically. Hopefully we can see some good conservative reforms here in the 118th Congress.
Sure.
But that fight should be coming probably around summer of 23.
Oh, great. So, yeah, we'll keep you all updated on that. But, Kilian, thanks for coming on this week. And, you know, looking forward to a good and fiscally responsible, hopefully, 2023.
God willing. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Kilian.